So throughout my time playing NHL 24, I've been able to win a handful of Stanley Cups. But you know what? I've never won a Stanley Cup without any defense. That's what we're going to try to do today. I'm going to try to win the Carolina Hurricanes a Stanley Cup with no defense. Now what classifies as no defense? Well, I'm not allowed to have any players on this team that have higher than 3.5 stars in their defensive attributes. So you might be thinking, well, what kind of defenseman has really bad defensive attributes? I can tell you right now, Tyson Barrie, Rasmus Ristolainen, Tony DeAngelo. Those are going to be our three key guys. Kalen Addison, he's probably going to be one of our defensemen. But this team that we're building right here is going to play zero defense whatsoever. Now, what makes a challenge like this so difficult, we're getting zero high overall players. Jason Robinson, he would be a great player to have on the Carolina Hurricanes right now. But unfortunately, his defensive attributes are too high. He's sitting at 4.5 stars right now. When it comes to a guy like Matt Barzal, how many stars is he going to have? 4 stars here. Slafkovsky, we could keep you around. You only have 3.5 stars, but you're a young player. You're going to keep on developing here. By the time we get to the beginning of next season, that's going to be at 4 stars, so we can't keep you on the team. Marco Rossi, same situation with you. Brandon Montour, you're going to be looking at 4.5 stars here. Chris Kreider, you're looking at 3.5, so maybe we can keep you around because I don't think you're really going to be progressing too much. You are what you are. So we have to turn this team right here into Stanley Cup champions. We have to trade a ton of players away, and we have to somehow win a Stanley Cup with no defense on this team. Kulich, I'm definitely keeping you around long term here. I mean, you're only a 75 overall right now, but you only have 2 stars in defense. You can definitely play on this team, no question about it. But if we're going to have no defense here, I don't think it's fair if I get myself a superstar goaltender. I can't go bring Andre Vasilevsky or Connor Hellebuyck to the team, bring in one of the best goaltenders, and then the defense doesn't really matter. The highest overall goaltender I can get is an 85. I can only run 85 overall goaltenders. However, if I start the season with an 85 and we get to the end of the season and he's an 86, nothing I can really do about that. But at the beginning of each season, every single player has to qualify for the position they're playing. So this is the first defenseman that we're bringing to the team here. It's going to be Rasmus Ristolainen. We're looking at 1.8 million for the next 4 years here. I'll actually do 1.9, give him a bit of a bag. But yeah, currently he's a free agent. So we went through the entire fantasy draft and nobody picked this guy up. So we're going to go through all these players right here. John Klingberg, you'd be another nice addition to the team, so I'll bring you here. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult challenge. These are the types of players that we're going to have on this team. Rasmus Ristolainen, John Klingberg. We definitely aren't going to have any superstars here. Yeah, this team's definitely going to struggle. I don't even know if this challenge is going to be possible. So this deal is going to be an absolute no-brainer for us. We're doing Matthias Janmark. It's going to be a 3-year deal on a 2-way contract, $950K. So while I'm signing all these players right here, I'm starting to realize how bad our team's actually going to be. Like Josh Anderson, you're going to be one of the top players for us. You're an 81 overall. There is no way this team sees any type of success. Jesper Fast, I'll also bring you to the team here. We'll do a 3-year deal. We're looking at $2 million. And I also have to give basically all these guys bags here because we have to make sure that we can reach the salary cap floor. And to cap off all of our big free agent signs here, it's going to be Dodonov for the final one. And we're going to do 1.4 million for the next 3. So now that we've given out all these free agent signings, let's go ahead and make some trades. So this is going to be the first trade we do here. Marco Rossi over to the Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to pick up Johnny Hockey. He only has 3 stars in defense. He's going to be one of the better players on this team. We're also getting Jimmy Vesey and a 2nd round pick, so that definitely works for me. So we've gone ahead and made one big time deal, but you know what? That's not the last deal. We got to do a handful more trades. Before we do that though, are you part of the 69% that aren't subbed to the channel? If you are, you should change that right now because we're trying to hit 70K by the end of the month. So subscribe if you haven't already. So we're going to move on to this next trade here. It's going to be Slafkovsky and Siegenthaler over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're going to get Patrick Laine, Kurashev, and Nick Robertson. All 3 of these guys right here are under 3 stars, so that's going to help this team a ton. So this is the next deal we're looking at. It's going to be Trevor Zegras, Maverick Bourque, Oscar Sundquist, a 1st and 2nd rounder from the LA Kings in exchange for Jason Robertson. That's going to give us 3 more players that only have 3 stars in their defense. And you know what? I'm starting to think I might change that rule up because we've got a handful of really good players that only have 3 stars in defense. So we might not actually need anyone that has 3.5 stars. So Matt Barzal and Brandon Montour, your defensive attributes are too high to play for the Carolina Hurricanes. So we're going to make a deal with the Florida Panthers. Marchenko, Stankoven, and Bobby Brink are all coming to the team for this one season. Okay, what am I doing? We can get more assets here. I was about to offer the stupidest trade of all time. I am so happy Florida didn't accept that. Give me 2 2nd round picks as well, and we can still get this deal done. We probably could have gotten a 1st round pick in this deal, but you know what? We got the 3 guys we were looking for. This team's going to have really good forward depth. We're just not going to have the star players. So season number 1 is just going to be a test at this point. Is it possible for us to win when we have defensemen on this team that only have 3 stars in their defensive attributes? I don't think it's going to be possible. Scott Perunovich only is 79 overall. You're our number 1 left defenseman. This is not going to work out for the team. They're going to say no to Chris Kreider, but I mean, we're asking for 2 second-round picks as well. But Scott Perunovich and 1 second-rounder is going to be enough to get this deal done. So we have to continue to make our left side a bit better. So what are we going to do? Pick up Will Butcher from the Islanders for a 4th-round pick. We are so incredibly desperate right now. It actually makes no sense. We are not going to win this season. I refuse to believe this team doesn't finish dead last. Like, we're going to be running all 70 overall defensemen right now. Like, there is no way that this team sees any type of success. We're moving on to a deal with the Winnipeg Jets here. We're not really going to have to give up too much. I'll give you a 5th-round pick, and I think we should be able to get this defenseman. Jordan Harris, welcome to the team. Now, we do have to figure out who our starting goaltender is going to be, and I think that's going to be Logan Thompson. He's sitting at an 85 overall right now. The only concern I have is next season he might be up to an 86, then we'll have to trade him away, but we're going to deal with that later. We're also going to be picking up Simon Milano in this deal, so this is going to be a good trade for us as long as we can get it done, which we should be able to. So I've already included a 3rd-round pick into this deal, so maybe a 6th-rounder can make the difference. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying yes. That's another big trade complete. So we're about to begin season number 1 here, and every single player on the forward core only has 3 stars in their defensive attributes. We are not going to play any defense right here. We just have to hope that this team somehow scores a lot of goals. And honestly, I don't think this team right here can score a lot of goals. The defense absolutely cooked. We're going to be allowing at least 18 goals per game. Logan Thompson, you just need to put on an absolute masterclass. So you might look at this team right here and say there's absolutely no chance this team wins the Stanley Cup, and I would 100% agree with you, but this is what the plan is. We're going to try to pick up players when they're regressing, and we're just going to hope that the only attributes that regress on those players is their defensive attributes. If we can somehow get some 85, 86 overall players that have no defense in them whatsoever, they'll be on this team. So yeah, basically all we have to do is hope that we can get a 5-star shooting player and a 5-star puck skills player that plays absolutely no defense. That's the plan. Is that a smart plan? Absolutely not. But you know what? We don't really have any other choice. So I have to give credit where credit is due. Yeah, I constructed this team and our team looks great here, but there is no reason that the Carolina Hurricanes should currently be sitting in a playoff spot. We're 14th with a 33, 26, and 3 record. This should not be happening right now. This team is playing absolutely amazing right now. Johnny Gaudreau, you got 69 points here at the trade deadline. Patrick Laine, 64, but look at the plus minuses. This is what happens when you have no one on your team that plays defense. The plus minuses are absolutely abysmal here, but are we really shocked at this? Not whatsoever. Now, I'm not going to trade any of our key players away. However, we do have a couple guys in the AHL. Michael Bunting's one of them. I believe Tyler Bertuzzi's on this team. Yes, he is. So we're going to trade him away as well. We're just going to trade them and then hopefully get some draft picks for them. Both of these guys were selected in the fantasy draft, so they're just on this team and I haven't done anything with them. I just threw them in the AHL. But you know what? I'll retain half of your salary for this season and ideally get a couple 2nd-round picks. So this is going to be the first trade we're doing. Tyler Bertuzzi at 50% retained, and we're going to get 2 3rd-round picks from the Colorado Avalanche. So we're going to try to pull off this deal. It's going to be Bunting and Perbix over to the Dallas Stars. We're taking on Victor Arvidsson's contract just so we can make the numbers work here, and we're going to get 2 2nd-round picks. They're going to say no. What if I take out one of the 2nd-rounders? Can we at least get one? I'm happy with a deal like that. So I think those are going to be the only deals we do here. We're just going to simulate to the end of the season. Best case scenario, we make the playoffs and win in year number 1, but that's not going to be happening. So what happened this season was complete and utter luck. 6th in the entire league with a 48, 31, and 3 record. But let's look at the goal differential. 9 goals. The differential between our offense and defense, 9 goals. We were one of the best offensive teams, 3.45 goals for, and we were one of the worst defensive teams, 3.34. It's a 9-goal differential here. There is no reason we should be 6th in the entire league with this goal differential right here. It looks like we have a couple players with positive plus minuses. It's going to be Scott Perunovich, John Klingberg, Nick Robinson, and Jimmy VC. You had a plus minus of 0, so yeah, it's close enough to positive. Everyone else had a negative plus minus on this team. The goaltending numbers, of course, are going to look horrible based on our team stats. Logan Thompson, 39 wins, 3 shouts, and 898 and a 331. I got to give respect where respect is due here. I was fully expecting an 850 and like a 390. So yeah, these are actually really good numbers. Somehow we're getting into the playoffs here. It makes absolutely no sense, but I think it's safe to say that we're the underdog in basically every single series. This team doesn't play defense. All you really have to do is play subpar defense against us, shut down our offense, and you already know for a fact we're going to be allowing 5 goals per game. So we got the Islanders in the first round here. I think it might be a quick series. Okay, now this just makes absolutely no sense. The Carolina Hurricanes having a 3-1 series lead over the Islanders. This should not be happening right now. We took them out in 5 games. Islanders fans, you should be absolutely disappointed in your team. Losing in 5 games to a team that doesn't play defense. Like, how does that even happen? So Islanders fans, I take it back. There's nothing you can really be ashamed about. This guy might just have the greatest postseason in NHL history. So we took down the Islanders and we're moving on to the second round. We have the Montreal Canadiens to take on. Carolina, I'm slowly starting to believe in the team here. We had a great performance in round number 1. Hopefully that continues into the second round here. Now see, this is what I was fully expecting. We're getting swept in the second round to the Montreal Canadiens. 6 goals allowed, 6 goals allowed, 8 goals allowed, 5 goals allowed. This is no defense hockey right here. So we're going to fall in the second round here. Tampa's going to go on to win the Stanley Cup, but we learned a lot from this postseason right here. Obviously, the offense has to be better. We need to build the greatest offensive team with players that don't play defense. I think we might have to be the first NHL team to somehow win a Stanley Cup with a negative goal differential. I don't even think that's going to be possible here. Like, the best plus minus on this team was Marchenko, and he was -1. And you know what? Marchenko might not be sticking on this team. What's his defense? Okay, it's still 3 stars. But there's probably a couple guys on this team that did progress. Trevor Zegras, you're going to have to leave the team here. You're up to 3.5 stars. Is there anyone else that's going to have to leave the team? Logan Stankoven, he's up to 3.5 stars. He's going to have to leave as well. But yeah, the team's going to be in a worse position next season unless we can find some absolute superstars that just for some reason don't play defense. So this is a big move right here. In the second round, we're going to be getting Sokolov, a medium league potential defenseman. We're going to trade him away because he's going to have a ton of trade value. He's going to help this team a ton. And honestly, he had a 57 overall. He actually might not even fit the criteria here. Okay, never mind. He only has 1 star in defense. So maybe we will hold on to you. You could be a good defenseman for us. Okay, so after that selection in the second round, I was taking a look at what prospects are available. There's no good prospects from here on out, so we're going to trade a couple picks away. The first trade is going to have us acquire a future first round pick from the Anaheim Ducks. The next trade we're going to be doing is with the Arizona Coyotes, and once again, a future first round pick is going to be acquired. They're going to say no to this deal, but we got more draft picks we can work with. Here's the 215th overall, so hopefully that's going to be enough. There we go, another first round pick for next season. And then we're going to cap it off with one final trade here. It's going to be another future first round pick. This one's coming from the Calgary Flames though. So we're going to lose a lot of players here. Like Marchenko, he's up to an 87 overall. He's got 4 stars in defense, so that means he can no longer play for this team. I'm going to offer him a contract. I'll do exactly what he's looking for. We could probably do 6.8 for the next 5 years, and then I'll trade you away. Kalen Addison, I was really hoping you would be sticking around for next season, but even you have too high of a defense now. You have 3.5 stars, so that's not going to work here. I will re-sign you and trade you away though. So you're looking for $4 million. How about we do 4.4 for the next 2? Luckily, there are still a couple guys on this team that can play next season. Nick Robertson's one of them. He still only has 3 stars in defense. Bobby Brink, he's still below 3 stars. Like, this man's 2.5 stars right now. He might be one of the worst defensive forwards in the league, but you know what? You can play on the Carolina Hurricanes right now. Barrett Hayton, we actually originally drafted you and I just had you in the AHL, but you actually fit the criteria as well, so I'll re-sign you 2 years at 1.1. And I think this is going to be the final deal. It's going to be Scott Perunovich. I'll do 3 years at 1.7. So when it comes to the defense, we're going to be losing some key guys. Kalen Addison, he's going to be leaving the team. Jordan Harris, he's going to be leaving the team. But Rasmus Ristolainen, John Klingberg, Scott Perunovich, they're all going to be sticking around. Even a guy like Ian Mitchell, who was originally drafted by Carolina in the fantasy draft, he might jump into the lineup. When it comes to forwards though, we're losing a lot of guys. Trevor Zegras is leaving. Johnny Hockey's going to stick around here. Even Patrick Laine is going to be leaving. He's at 3.5 stars. Marchenko's going to have to leave. Kurashev's going to have to leave. Okay, we're losing like half the team. But luckily, a lot of their trade values went up, so we are still okay here. So Kurashev, you're going to be sent back to the Chicago Blackhawks here. Kaliev, a second and third round is going to be acquired. We need somebody that doesn't play defense. And Kaliev, you have low defensive stats, so you can fit on this team perfectly. So after completing that deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, I just realized there's another player on this team that fits the criteria, Oliver Wahlstrom. So he's going to be picked up here. It's going to be Wahlstrom, a third, second, and first round pick. We're not going to get all of these assets here, but I would like to get the second and first round pick. So hopefully we're going to be able to. That's a big time deal for us. So we're moving on to our next deal, and that's going to be with the Red Wings. Zadina, a fourth and third rounder, is going to be acquired for Kalen Addison. We're going to send that package over. They're accepting it immediately. But now we have to move on over to Buffalo because we're going to be getting one young player, 83 overall, Adam Fantilli. He's going to be jumping into the lineup. He's only got 3 stars in his defensive attributes, so he's going to be a good player for us. He's going to be one of the better guys on this team. And you know what? A guy like Trevor Zegras, we could probably go 1 for 1. But why would we go 1 for 1 when I can definitely get some assets back here? So give me a third rounder and give me a fifth. I think that's a pretty fair deal. So it's going to be Adam Fantilli, a third and fifth rounder for Trevor Zegras. I'm sending that over. They're accepting that immediately. We're in a good spot. The only thing that's going to hurt us is we have to spend money here because yeah, look at the salary cap for us, we are definitely under the salary cap floor. So as I pointed out, we have a ton of money in cap space. So that means we got to lock some players down here. Mantha, I'm going to do 4.2 million for the next 3 years. That's almost $1 million more than what you're asking for, but we have to reach the salary cap floor, so we got to overpay on a handful of players. When it comes to the defense, no surprise that we're going to be seeing this guy right here, Tony DeAngelo. It's going to be 4.7 for the next 2 years. And then for our forward core, Victor Arvidsson, I actually traded for you last season just to make the salary caps work, but you've had a pretty steep fall off, so I'll bring you to the team. 3.3 for the next 3 years. You're an 82 overall, but your defense is at 3 stars, and that's what we're looking for here. Another guy that we're going to sign here in free agency is going to be Victor Olsen. That's going to be 3.4 for the next 3. So I think our forward core should be good enough now. We just got to work on the defense a bit more. So I think I figured out a way to kind of finesse the system here. Now, Logan Stankoven, I'm going to trade you over to the Boston Bruins, and we're going to get Cutter Gauthier. Now, technically, Cutter Gauthier only has 3 stars in defense. By the time we get to the end of the season, it's going to be a bit higher than 3 stars. But you know what? I can't control that. I'm just trading for how the player is right now. And Cutter Gauthier, you only have 3 stars in defense, so you're going to play for this team right now. Stankoven straight up for Cutter Gauthier is not going to be enough. But as you know, we got draft picks to work with. We've acquired a handful. So yeah, I'll give you a 3rd round pick back. It's actually your 3rd round pick, and I think that should be enough. They're saying no to this. Honestly, that's a bit OD. So here's another 3rd round pick, and that should be enough for Cutter Gauthier. Okay, this team is bugging. So here's a 2nd and 2 3rd round picks for Cutter Gauthier. I am giving you Logan Stankoven as well. What are you guys talking about? This isn't a fair deal. Here's a 6th rounder as well. This is actually ridiculous. But I refuse to give up, so I'll take out one of those 3rd round picks and put in another 2nd rounder. This is a massive package, but we're getting the player we want. So we're moving on to our next trade, and this is going to see Patrick Laine returning to the Winnipeg Jets, and we're going to be picking up Shane Wright. Ideally, we can go 1 for 1 here. That was a real easy deal. But it turns out we actually have to go back to the Boston Bruins because there's another young player I want to pick up from them, and he goes by the name of Zach Benson. So I think how we're going to do this deal is I'm going to trade this medium elite potential player who's only a 57 overall, and then probably give up a 1st round pick here. Here's Calgary's 1st rounder, and then I'll give you our 2nd rounder for 2026. Now this is a pretty fair deal for Zach Benson. I'm going to send this package over. They're going to be accepting pretty quick here. Now the only issue we're going to have is not reaching the salary cap floor. What I think I might do is just give $15 million to one player just so we can reach it. Now I think this might be the final trade before we get into next season. Jordan Harris, I'm going to send you over to the Arizona Coyotes for 2 3rd round picks. Now with all the free agent signings and all the trades we made, I think our forward core and defensive core should be set. When it comes to the goaltending, that's going to be staying the exact same. Now this is going to be the simplest way to reach the salary cap floor. Max Pacioretty, here's $9 million for next season. And then when it comes to David Perron, we're going to do a very similar deal here. It's going to be $8 million for next season. So that's $17 million combined between those 2 players. That'll be enough to get us to the floor. Now you might be looking at this team right now and thinking, well, this doesn't look right. Where's Cutter Gauthier? Where's Zach Benson? Where's Shane Wright? Well, when I trade for those guys, I didn't consider that they're going to keep improving heading into next season. So I traded for them in July. Where are these guys' overalls? Well, they're a bit higher. Shane Wright, 3.5 stars in defense. Cutter Gauthier, what does he have? Pretty similar, 3.5 stars in defense. Zach Benson, same situation with him, 3.5 stars in defense. The one good thing is we technically have all these guys, so we can trade them next season, but we have to be more careful. Instead of trading for these types of players during the off season, we're actually going to do it during the beginning of the regular season. Then we know exactly what we're going to be getting. But for this season, this is what we're going to be rocking. This team right here stinks, no question about it. Fantilli, Johnny Hockey, Kaliev, the only 3 real solid players that we can rely on. The rest of the guys here, yeah, they're 80 overalls, but I just don't think it's going to be enough here, especially considering every single player we have on this team right now does not play defense. So we're definitely going to struggle. I think the only thing that might save us is Logan Thompson. He looked not bad last season, but I think the entire team in front of him is worse. So yeah, I expect a worse result. So I'm going to be honest, I have no clue what to say here. 6th in the entire league. How does that make any sense? A 37, 22, and 3 record. Our offense is really good here, but our defense is good as well. How is this team's defense good? We have the 3rd best defense in the entire league. Every single player on our team is 3 stars or lower in their defensive categories. 3rd in the entire league. Honestly, I'm just speechless. Like, that makes no sense. Johnny Hockey, you're great. Fantilli, you're great so far. Kaliev. But there are so many players on this team with a positive plus minus. These numbers right here, we should probably be seeing with every single player, but somehow we're not. We're actually seeing more positive plus minuses than negative. I can't even process what's going on right now, but Logan Thompson, a 917, a 275 with a team that doesn't play defense. I'm going to be honest, when I first thought about this challenge, I thought it was going to be impossible. I thought there is absolutely no way I can win a Stanley Cup with players that don't play defense. And here we are at the trade deadline, a 37, 22, and 3 record. Honestly, I got nothing to say. It's pretty impressive. Now after the trade deadline, the Carolina Hurricanes, they took a slight step back, 9th in the entire league with a 47, 31, 4 record, but there is no reason we should be a top 10 team. We don't play defense. Like, I got nothing else to say other than that. We don't play defense here. I mean, Johnny Hockey, he was phenomenal this season, 108 points, 48 goals, 60 assists. And Fantilli was really good. Kaliev was really good. Wallstrom was really good. I mean, we had a lot of guys step up here, and that's helping a ton. Like Frederick Gaudreau, you had 59 points, including 24 goals. Who would have ever saw that happening? When it comes to goaltending, Logan Thompson, you were great. A 914, a 281. You even had 5 shutouts. How'd you have 5 shutouts with no defense in front of you? I have no clue, but you did it. But as we've learned from the past, the regular season means nothing moving into the playoffs. And since we finished as the 3rd seed, we're going to take on the 2-seeded Rangers. And the Rangers, they're going to be pretty good. Yeah, so safe to say, things aren't really going our way. We've allowed 6 goals, 5 goals, and 5 goals. When push comes to shove, we can't play good defense, but we have nobody that can play good defense. I mean, are we really shocked? So it doesn't really matter how good our offense is. We got to step up when it comes to defense. 2 goals in the first period. This game's over. 4-3. We're going to drop this one 4-3 here. Yeah, once the postseason comes around, this team's just not good enough defensively. So that's going to be a sweep for the New York Rangers. We're falling in the first round this season. I mean, both times we've ended up losing in the postseason. We've got swept both times. The Rangers have swept us. The Montreal Canadiens have swept us. The Islanders, on the other hand, we somehow beat in 5 games. Like, after watching this team perform in the postseason, I haven't figured out how we beat the New York Islanders. Like, of course, this team plays 0 defense because you don't have any defensive players here, but how did we beat the Islanders? Like, that makes no sense. Show it to the Buffalo Sabres, Stanley Cup champions. But yeah, I still haven't figured out what went wrong with the Islanders. Now, you remember all these picks that we acquired? Well, we're about to trade all of them. You know why? Because I forgot to hire scouts. This has never happened before, but I forgot to hire us scouts, so I think we only had 5 scouts for this season. Therefore, we didn't scout any prospects. So yeah, we're trading all the picks. So we're going to start with this trade right here, the 15th overall, the 56th overall, and the 52nd overall over to the Minnesota Wild. And we're looking to get 2 future first round picks. It looks like those assets are going to be enough. Moving on over to our next trade, it's going to be the 19th overall and the 23rd overall over to the Ottawa Senators for our 1st and 2nd round pick. They're going to say no to that deal, but you know what? We have a ton of assets we can work with here. I'm willing to trade a future 2nd rounder. Here's the Chicago Blackhawks 2nd rounder for 2026. They're going to say no to that. You know what? I'll give you 2 3rd round picks. This is the most I'm willing to offer, though. It's going to be a massive package for our 1st and 2nd rounder, but Ottawa right now isn't showing a lot of promise, so that pick could be really valuable. So we're going to keep on making trades here, and the next one's going to be with the Philadelphia Flyers as we're getting a future 1st round pick. And to finish it off, a 6th and 7th round pick is going to be shipped over to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we're getting a future 3rd rounder. Now, I'm incredibly concerned with what this team's going to look like next season. Adam Fantilli, there's no way he's returning. He's 90 overall, 4.5 stars in defense. Johnny Gaudreau, we're even going to be losing him. That's a big loss for us. He's a 90 overall, 3.5 stars. If he was sitting at 3 stars, we've been able to keep him on this team. Wallstrom's going to be leaving. Luckily, Kaliev is going to be sticking around here. Same with Zadina. Victor Arvidsson, he's going to be leaving. Zach Benson's going to be leaving. David Perron's going to be leaving. Max Patre. Okay, we're losing like 90% of the team here. So yeah, this is going to be a very tough loss. When it comes to goaltending, we're even losing Logan Thompson. This team is cooked. I refuse to believe we win a Stanley Cup next season. Unless we can just find some superstar players where it makes absolutely no sense that they have only 3 stars in defense, I think we're going to be toast. However, we do have to make sure that some of these guys come back. Logan Thompson, I am going to re-sign you, then trade you away. You're going to have some trade value. Here's 4.7 for the next 3 years. Yeah, everyone on an expiring deal that's going to have value is returning to the team. So Wallstrom, I'll give you a deal as well. We'll do 5.9 for the next 6 seasons. That will keep you around as well. Max Patre and Dave Perron, of course, both these guys are going to be walking. Maverick Bourque will give you a deal because you can actually play for us next season. You'll probably be up to an 81 overall. So yeah, this is a pretty solid contract for you. I guess those are really the only guys we have to re-sign here. Everyone else is just going to be traded away. Now, it turns out we actually have scouts here that just didn't do any scouting whatsoever. I have scouting set to automatic. It should just automatically do it. But nope, the scouts did 0 scouting last season. And how do I know this? We had the 16th overall pick from the Anaheim Ducks. Picks 16 through 32, we had no scouting on any of those players. Everything was unknown. But yet, we have scouts here. Not really too sure how that works. So Wallstrom, I can't keep you on the team anymore. 86 overall and your defense is too high. But Anthony Duclair, you only have 3 stars in defense, so you can play for this team. It's going to be Wallstrom straight up for Duclair. San Jose is getting a steal here, but I just want to make this trade as simple as possible. The next trade we're looking into is Frederick Gaudreau over to the Florida Panthers, and we're going to be picking up Thomas Tatar. He's got 1 year left on his contract, but he only has 3 stars in defense, so that's what we're looking for. So this is a massive deal for us. Lucas Reichel, you're an 84 overall, but only 3 stars in defense. 3 stars in defense for a 2-way forward makes no sense to me, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine with making this deal happen. They're going to say no. They don't really want to take on Victor Arvidsson's contract, but you know what? 2 third rounders will definitely make that difference. So there we go. We got this deal done. So we're only going to make one big free agent signing here, and that's going to be Kuznetsov, $4 million for the next 2 seasons. Outside of him, there's really no players available here that have low defenses but are higher overalls. So I'm going to take back what I said 3 seconds ago. Mason Appleton, you're also joined the team, 3.3 for next season. Outside of those 2 guys, though, there's no high overall players that have low defense. I mean, Engvall, I guess you could consider here. He's an 82 overall. So Engvall, I'll give you a deal as well. At this point, I'm just yapping. I'm signing every player I can. Now, we are going to have to give one player a massive deal just so we can reach the salary cap floor, because we still have to trade Johnny Hockey and all those guys away. So Brock Nelson, here's $9 million for next season. Now, I've simulated to the beginning of next season. Now we're going to make all the big trades. Zach Benson, I'm going to send you back over to the Boston Bruins. We're going to get this guy they drafted number 1 overall. He's an 82 overall. Right now, his defense is low, so he can play for the team. But of course, this is going to be the only season he can play for the team, because after this season, he's probably going to have 4.5 stars, maybe even 5 stars in defense. But right now, he only has 3 stars. So we're just going to keep on doing the same thing here. Norrinen, you're going to be acquired from the LA Kings. You're an 82 overall, I think. Maybe not. You're actually an 80 overall, but you got an X factor. A two-way forward that only has 3 stars in defense. Doesn't really make too much sense, but you know what? You can probably play some bottom 6 mids for us. They're going to say no to this deal, but we have so many picks we can work with, it's a bit ridiculous. So I'll include another second round pick into this deal, and that's going to be enough to get this one done. So we're not done with the trades yet. Philly, would you be interested in your own first round pick? I'll give you Matejchuk as well. All you have to do is give me Alexander Holtz. So we're going to keep on making trades here, and this is going to be the next one. It's complete with the New Jersey Devils. We're going to be getting another forward here for the bottom 6. We might have given up a lot of draft picks there, but it was just 3rd and 4th rounders, so not a ton of super valuable picks there. So it seems like the Chicago Blackhawks always seem to have the players that have 0 defense. So we're picking up Broberg, we're picking up Bryson, and we're picking up Voronkov. 3 great players that are going to join the team, and they're going to be jumping into the lineup immediately here. Now, Adam Fantilli, as we know, you're not going to be able to play for this team anymore. You're a 90 overall and your defense is too high. Ty Smith, on the other hand, you're an 80 overall and your defense is only 3 stars. So you could definitely help our left side, because right now that's really weak. Still consisting of 70 overall players. Obviously, we're not getting the amount of assets we should be in a deal like this, but we did get a handful of draft picks. We got the guy we needed. But yeah, that was just a really stupid trade in general. Like, I really just got Ty Smith, a 2nd and a 3rd rounder, for Adam Fantilli. Yeah, what was I cooking up? So I think this might be the last trade we're going to do here, and I think we might just hold on to Johnny Hockey for this season, have him playing the AHL or something. But yeah, it's going to be this package sent over to the Minnesota Wild. Freddie Anderson, Alex Lyon, Wade Allison, all of these guys are going to be acquired for this package right here. I think I actually know what I'm going to do with Johnny Hockey now. We're going to hold on to him for this season. Why did this game crash? Nothing would have saved. That's just fantastic. Alright, so this is attempt number 3 trying to get this trade to happen, and we decided to change it up a little bit. Logan Thompson, a 4th and 2nd rounder, over to the Minnesota Wild. Freddie Anderson, Alex Lyon, Boquist. Those are the 3 guys that we're going to be getting here. We're going to try assistant GM best roster. The last 2 times we've done it, that's when the game has crashed. What's going to happen here? The game's actually not going to crash and we can get past this trade. So that's a good sign, at least. So in the past, we've had guys like Patrick Laine, we've had Johnny Hockey on the team, even Adam Fantilli last season. Who do we have now? Lucas Reichel, Kaliev, Duclair. That's our number 1 line. This team is absolutely cooked. We're not seeing success this season. Then again, I never thought this team would see any wins. This is the best our defense has ever looked. It's all 80 overall players, so maybe we're going to be a bit better there. Freddie Anderson, Alex Lyon. Let's see if you guys can pick up some wins. So last season at the trade deadline was an absolute fluke. Are we really surprised that the Carolina Hurricanes are struggling here? However, we are sitting just outside of a playoff spot, 16th in the entire league, a 31, 26, and 5 record. Currently, we have a negative goal differential, but we all saw that one coming. But if we can make some big trade here, bring in a guy like Alexander Ovechkin, hopefully he's declined enough that he can play for the team, we're going to be all right. Zadina, he's got 53 points so far. He's plus 14. That makes 0 sense. We know we're not going to worry about it. Duclair's got 52 points here. Lucas Reichel's got 51. Kaliev's got 49. We're going to ignore the plus minuses, but you know what, Zadina, you've actually been really good this season. When it comes to the goaltending, obviously these numbers are going to be absolutely cooked, but you know what, if they're good enough to get us into the postseason, I don't really care. So I guess we're not going to be bringing Alexander Ovechkin to the team yet. He's still sitting at 3.5 stars when it comes to his defense. But I have a feeling once he reaches 41 years old, that's got to drop to at least 3 stars. One of these days, we're going to be bringing one of these guys to the team here. Jamie Benn, he's 3.5 stars. Sam Gagner, technically you qualify to be on this team, but you're 78 overall, so that's not happening. So I think this is going to be the lone trade we do here. Ottawa's first round pick over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Taylor Hall, a 1st and 2nd rounder, is going to be acquired. They're saying no to this. I'll take the 2nd rounder out, and I think we should be able to get this deal done. Maybe we just take the 1st rounder out and get the 2nd, but I want more than 1 2nd rounder. Give me 2 2nd rounders alongside Taylor Hall. This is definitely going to help the team. Taylor Hall is like an 84 overall. Is it going to be enough for us to win a Stanley Cup this season? Probably not. So for the first time in this video, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be missing the postseason, but we were pretty close to making the playoffs. We didn't miss by much. We missed by 2 points, a 40, 35, and 7 record. This team's going to be better next season. I can guarantee that. Obviously, our defense was one of the worst in the entire league here, but you know what? I can guarantee this team will be back, because who's going to be joining the team? Alexander Ovechkin. There is no way that guy's defense doesn't drop to 3 stars. It also didn't help that basically this team couldn't score outside the top guys. Like Zadina has 72 points here. He still has 3 stars in defense, so he'll stay on the team. Anthony Duclair, same situation with him. Ideally, we don't lose too many players here, but I think we are going to lose a couple. So this might be worse than us missing the playoffs. The New York Rangers beating the St. Louis Blues. You hate to see it, you really do. So I think we have to realize that next season might be our last chance to win a Stanley Cup, because things are just slowly getting worse here, and I don't think they're going to get any better. Ideally, we can pick up these 2 first-round picks from the Buffalo Sabres. I'll package up the 14th overall and the 15th overall. I feel like that's a pretty fair trade. I'll send that over. Buffalo saying yes. But next season might be our last chance to win a Stanley Cup. Things clearly aren't heading in the right direction for this team. We're not going to be getting any better, so we got to make some big moves. And Alexander Ovechkin, please join the team. Now, I'm not going to show you everything that happened during the re-sign phase, because we just brought back basically everyone that's been on the team in the past. We are going to make 2 big free agent signings though. David Perron and Cody Glass are going to be the 2 guys we're picking up here. But I'm not really focused on the free agent signings right now. I'm more focused on the trades, and we got to make some big ones here. Okay, this is going to be the season we do it. We're finally going to win a Stanley Cup here. We just had 2 miracles happen. First, Johnny Hockey, massive fall off. He's dropped to an 84 overall, but he still has all of his X factors, and he's below 3 stars in defense, so he can play for the team once again here. But you know who else dropped to 3 stars in defense? Oliver Wahlstrom. 87 overall. He's got X factors, but he doesn't play defense. He can play for this team again. So I'm going to trade this young player right here straight for Oliver Wahlstrom. We have an 87 overall on the team. I'm going to go try to find a couple more players like that, and if I'm able to, we're going to be hoisting a Stanley Cup. So it's time to make another trade with the Boston Bruins, because we clearly haven't done that enough today. So Matt Poitras, 2 second rounders and a 3rd rounder for Lucas Reichel. They're going to say no to that. I'll take out one of the 3rd rounders. You got to say yes to this deal. I don't know what you're yapping about when you're like, oh, we don't have enough money for RFAs. Who cares? You're getting Lucas Reichel, and all you gave up is Matt Poitras. Well, and a 2nd round pick, but you know what? We got the guy we needed, and you get the guy you need. So unfortunately, Ovi's defensive stats are still sitting at 3.5 stars here. Eventually, they do have to fall off though. Hopefully by the trade deadline they're at 3 stars, but I just don't think it's going to be happening. Anthony Duclair, we got to trade you away now. Zadina, you can still play for this team. Like, I've reached to the point where I can't find any players who have bad defensive attributes, so just even rostering a team right now is pretty difficult. Like, if you have 3 stars in your defensive attributes, more than likely you're already on this team. But I finally found somebody fitting the qualifications. Chinnikov, he's going to join the team here in 83 overall. He's a bit of a step back from Duclair, but Duclair clearly doesn't fit the criteria anymore. So we have to make 2 more trades here, and the first is going to be picking up Estrada from the Dallas Stars. He's got medium elite potential. By the end of the season, he'll have 4 stars in defense, but as of right now, he only has 3, so this deal is definitely going to be smart for us to do here. We got to bring in a new player. And then for our final trade, it's going to be Cutter Gauthier and a 1st round pick over to the San Jose Sharks, and we're getting Gavin McKenna. They're really saying no to this deal right here. That is absolutely ridiculous. Here's a 6th round pick as well. Now they're accepting. They just wouldn't accept without that 6th round pick, huh? So if I want to blame one player for the lack of success, who should I blame? I'm going to blame Freddie Anderson, because it was a different goaltender from Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson, he's back to being an 85 overall. He can be the goaltender for us once again here. So a 1st rounder and Freddie Anderson's back over to the Minnesota Wild. I mean, obviously it's not Freddie Anderson's fault. He doesn't have a defense in front of him, so I can't expect him to carry the way like Logan Thompson did, because that one season that Logan Thompson had, unforgettable. So this is what the team's going to be looking like. Gavin McKenna, Johnny Gaudreau, and Wahlstrom on the top line gain a +5 boost. Zadina, Matt Poitras, and Taylor Hall in the second gain a +2. The forward core actually looks really strong here, and the defense, it's definitely looked worse before. Like, we only have one guy that's not an 80 overall. We have a handful of 81 overalls, even an 82 overall Tony DeAngelo, and with Logan Thompson back on this team leading the way in between the pipes, I expect we're going to see a lot of success here. I mean, it's a bit of a riskier season. We have to hope Johnny Hockey has a massive bounce back campaign, but if he does, Carolina's going to be in a great spot. So we brought Logan Thompson to the team, so you already know what that means. We're going to be in the postseason right now, 11th in the entire league with a 33-24-4 record. As long as we're sitting in the postseason, we're going to be in a good spot, but we do have to upgrade this team a little bit. Johnny Hockey, a great season from you. I'm happy you're having a bounce back campaign. 69 points. Wahlstrom's got 65. Taylor Hall 51. Just look at the plus minus compared to last season. We were absolutely cooked last year, but then we replaced Freddie Anderson with Logan Thompson, and here we are back in the postseason. And Logan Thompson, I'm only assuming you're putting up some decent numbers right now. A 911 and a 290, that's the big difference. But you already know that we have to try to trade for Alexander Ovechkin if possible. As long as he has 3 stars in defense, he's going to be joining this team. Now, Alexander Ovechkin, you're turning out to be my biggest option. 86 overall, 3.5 stars in defense. Why couldn't that just be 3 stars? If it was, you would be joining the team here. That's not going to be the case. We have to trade for somebody else. So Malkin, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be a 2nd and 3rd round pick for you. This is more than we have to give up. You know what? You're going to be a crucial part to this team, and you're going to help us get a Stanley Cup here. So we might not be picking up Alexander Ovechkin, but we are going to get Alex Nylander. So I mean, same difference. So Malkin, you might go down as the most valuable player player in the league, 7th in the entire league, a 47-30-5 record. We can actually compete with the best here. And Malkin, he's been absolutely incredible to the success of this team. After the trade deadline, we've been absolutely elite. Johnny Gaudreau's great, Wallstrom's great, but Malkin, what have you done since joining the team here? Big things. 9 points in 21 games. I tried to gas you up. You have done nothing here. But you know what? The team's seen success. What can I really complain about? Logan Thompson, I need a historic postseason from you. If you put up some incredible numbers, we're going to be Stanley Cup champs. So let's get right to the postseason. We got the Philadelphia Flyers in the first round. Logan Thompson, if you somehow put up the greatest goaltending numbers of all time, we can win a Stanley Cup. If you don't do that, we're out in the first round. So yeah, we're very reliant on Logan Thompson right now. Okay, so we're dominating Philly. 6 goals here, 5 goals here, 6 goals here. But more importantly, the defense has been very good for this team so far. And then immediately we allow 5 goals and don't score any. Should have saw that one coming. Are we going to be blowing a 3-1 series lead? It doesn't look like it. We're going to close it out in game 6. This 5-0 game got me real concerned though. So the last time we were in the second round was season number 1, and it didn't really go too well for us. We got swept by the Montreal Canadiens, but I truly believe that this team is better than the team we saw in year number 1, and so far things have been looking pretty solid for us. All we need is great goaltending here, because the offense, we can certainly score goals. Defensively, we can't do anything. So it's been a back and forth series with the New York Rangers. The games we win, we play somewhat good defense, only allowing 3 goals in each of them. The games we're losing, we're allowing 5+. So if we can have a great defensive performance in game number 5, we're going to be stealing that game. We didn't even play good defense here, but we were still able to win that game. Game 6 is going to be a massive one. Can we beat the Rangers? It doesn't look like it. We're going to need game 7. So here we go, game 7, the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Rangers. We got to play some great defense and score some goals. Taylor Hall, he's going to be picking up 2 goals in this game. We're going to keep on picking up goals because now we have a 2-goal lead entering the third period. Can we close it out here? Yes, we can. Ty Smith's going to be picking up a goal on Gorgiev. We're winning 6-3, and we're off to the conference finals. So we've made to the conference finals, and now we have the Toronto Maple Leafs up next. Normally, I wouldn't be scared of the Toronto Maple Leafs because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we did a fantasy draft here, so it's a completely different team. However, there is still one common denominator for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I believe Auston Matthews is still on this team. Even after the fantasy draft, he's still in the Maple Leafs. So if you still have parts of the core 4, you're not going to be getting past us in the conference finals. Now this is just funny. The Toronto Maple Leafs got swept by us. You guys couldn't beat us in a single game. That is so embarrassing. Abolish your franchise right now. No way you lost to a Carolina Hurricanes team that doesn't play defense. Auston Matthews is still on this team, and he still couldn't score enough to get past us. So we're in the Stanley Cup final after that sweep. Ain't no way that just happened. So it all comes down to this. The Carolina Hurricanes and Chicago Blackhawks. We've made a handful of trades with the Blackhawks. Probably 5 or 6 trades so far this video. But now we're matching up against them in the Stanley Cup final. So that means they have a couple former players from us on their team. But you know what? We have a handful of their players. They only won 38 games this season. So we're definitely the favorite. So all I need is 4 more wins. Can we somehow sweep the Chicago Blackhawks? Probably not. We're going to be dropping game 1. We're down 3-1 this series. Time to spark a massive comeback. So that comeback's got to start in game number 5 here. Carolina, we got to get the offense going. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. We should be able to steal this game away, and it looks like we will be. We're taking it 3-1. So we were able to steal game 5. Now we got to steal game 6 away. We got to continue to play some great defense here. They got Nikita Kucherov on their team, and he's picked up 2 goals so far. Can we lock down in the third period here? It doesn't look like it. They're going to be scoring 2 late goals here. Overtime's going to settle this one, but in overtime, Estrada's picked up a massive goal. We were down 3-1 in the series. Now we're off to game 7. So here we go, game 7. This is going to decide who takes home the Stanley Cup. We scored 4 goals in the first period. We picked up another in the second. Ain't no way we won this game. We almost lost though. They scored 4 goals in the third period, but it doesn't matter. A 3-1 series comeback. The Carolina Hurricanes won a Stanley Cup with no defense. This team was relying strictly on their offense, and somehow we were able to do the impossible. What we just did here makes absolutely no sense. Winning a Stanley Cup with no defense. Wallstrom was great. Estrada was great. Johnny Hockey was great. Malkin, what a great pickup that was. 17 points in 24 games. Taylor Hall picked up 12 goals here. This entire team was looking fantastic. And when it comes to the goaltending numbers, Logan Thompson, 16 wins, a 906 and a 325. You want a Stanley Cup with these numbers right here. Our offense was just so good. We were able to outscore all of our problems. There is no way the Stanley Cup winning goaltender should have a 906 and a 325. But you know what? It looks like that's going to be the case here. The Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup champions. Who needs defense anyways?